Welcome back for another video. The first game week of the season completed. 60 points all out, which I'll honestly take for the first game week. There was just over 600,000 chips activated in the first game week, and it's going to take a long time for things to shake out in the rankings. The average score was 54 in game week 1, so I ended up 6 above average. I was originally on 59, but a really late bonus recalculation saw Sanchez clinch 1 bonus point, so 60 points all out. Double Spurs defence thankfully delivered for Frank's first league game. Salah with the 94th minute goal, and I ended up getting him a bonus point as well to take him from 2 to 8 points, or for a 16 pointer as captain. And what a league debut from Reinders. 1 goal, 1 assist. Perfect ball over the Wolves defence as well to create Haaland's first goal, which Lewis assisted. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that as a first score, honestly. Like, the FPL rankings are so volatile right now, and if you didn't start well, don't get complacent. Like, a bad game week 2 could send me down to 6 million in one game week. Or let's say if you're 7 million, a good game week 2 could send you up to 1 million. That's how condensed the ranks are in the early weeks. Like right now, 8 points separates 4 million from 2 million. 11 points separates 2 million from 500k. 9 points separates 500k to 100k. Quite a few blanks in my team from game week 1, but patience is key, especially so early on in the season. So that's the 1 minute summary of last game week. Let's have a look at how you all got on. Alex King activated his bench boost. He had Trafford 7, and he also had Anderson, Van de Ven and Digne on his bench, all scoring 6. 84 points all out for Alex. Well played, mate. Collins says, surely nobody did worse than me. 36. He had Conster's red card, and his only returns were Porro's clean sheet and Gakpo's goal. I mean, this team is a great example of how quickly things can change. Like, he had an unfortunate game week 1. He went for Saka over Salah. But I would be captain as Saka in game week 2 and just hope he gets a haul against Leeds that beats Salah's score against Newcastle. Well, someone did do worse than Colin, in fact. FPL Keeper. I was actually with him on Friday at the Fantasy Football Festival, and he got unbelievably unlucky. Everyone blanked in his team except for Porro, and he had Reinders on his bench as well. 28 points all out for a rank of 9.3 million. I mean, the good news is that you're almost guaranteed a green arrow next week. And lastly, Sunderland FPL, who was the clear winner this week. He said, how to use a bench boost in game week 1. 17 points on the bench. Could have been more if Tosin had played. He got 98 points all out the first game week, and he was one Tosin injury away from scoring over 100 points in game week 1. Absolutely smashed it. Well played. Massive thank you to everyone that installed the FPL Focal App. Over 260,000 active users now, and the traffic was honestly unbelievable over the first game week. And there was no downtime either. Somehow the servers kept up. Though we've already gone over the entire monthly allowance just after a few days. If you'd like to support the running costs of the project and unlock loads of premium features on all the widgets, there's dashboard customization as well, you can hide all the ads, etc, then just click the subscribe button in the app. It's only 69p per week, or it's even cheaper if you go for yearly, and it will go straight back into the project to build out new things for you guys. FPL Focal in the App Store, or links below to get it for free. So in goal, I've actually got a call to make between Sanchez and Dubravka. I had a look on the app and the clean sheet widget has got them neck and neck as well. Chelsea away to West Ham, Burnley have got Sunderland home. 34% chance of a clean sheet for Chelsea, 32% for Burnley. So neither are particularly likely. Obviously it should be noted, like about a 1 in 3 chance. I've got a Burnley defender, so I'm just going to hedge. Arsenal comfortably top this week, home to Leeds, given a 46% chance. So in defence, it's going to be Murillo, Esteve and Anderson. This is the only time that I hope to see Esteve in my starting 11. Perhaps maybe game week 8 as well potentially, because they've got Leeds home that week. It's a huge game in the grand scheme of things for their respective seasons. It could go down to the wire in a relegation battle by literally a couple of points for all we know right now. So I therefore hope this is going to be a really cagey game leading to a 0-0 or maybe a Burnley clean sheet win. Brentford barely threatened Forest in game week 1, and it was ultimately that penalty that cost Murillo the clean sheet. About 0.7 non-penalty XG Brentford have. Therefore, Murillo didn't really have any real chance to get close to defensive contributions, which was something that he excelled at last season. And I've got a feeling Palace are going to be much more of a handful, and he might just get those DCs this game. It's a rough fixture for Anderson. He's home to Man United, and I've actually considered starting Porro even. I was really impressed by Man United in game week 1, even though they did ultimately lose. Like, if they have genuinely raised their level this season, which seemed to be the case against Arsenal, then they're going to do well this season. No one conceded more shots than Arsenal in game week 1. That's how impressive they were. Fulham given just a 21% chance of a clean sheet for this one, but Spurs just 9%. Of course, in the same fixture last season, Spurs beat them 4-0 and Porro scored, but I'm not expecting a repeat of that personally. Though Anderson, of course, he's got very little goal threat. Porro absolutely does, so it's quite a close call in my opinion. Anderson is really good for defensive contributions per 90 though, so I wouldn't be surprised if he manages to lock them in this match, but I would be really surprised if he keeps a clean sheet in honesty. After the first game week under the belt, what's everyone's views on the defensive contributions? I've actually really enjoyed them myself, like, not just the fact that it opens up the game in terms of the player pool and more options, but it gives you another thing to cheer on every game, doesn't it? Like, I found myself checking defensive contributions during the games to see like which players I had are getting close or if they've locked in the 2 points already. I can't wait for the home debut of Reinders. He looked the best player on the pitch against Wolves, and if he can sustain that form, Pep's going to have no choice but to use him as often as possible. What I also love about Reinders is he's a 90-minute man. Like, from Game Week 11 to Game Week 38 in Serie A last season, in those 17 games, he started every game and he came off before 90 just twice. Under his 4 appearances for Pep, he's also not come off before 90 minutes either. I mean, it definitely will happen at times, don't get me wrong, but it does show his fitness levels as well. And the underlying point that I'm trying to make is, minutes are so key in FPL. The longer a player's on the pitch, the likelier they are to get you a return. Pep made a treble sub at 66 minutes and I wondered if his name would go up, but it didn't. And he made 2 further changes, so 5 subs, but Reinders played the full match. Palmer had a quiet game week 1 against Palace, just 0.2 expected goals, although West Ham should be an easier opponent for them. I'm finding captaincy a really tricky one this week. Like, if Palmer had looked really good game week 1, I think it'd be a pretty easy one, but Salah of course scored, and he's got Newcastle, but they only conceded 0.2 xg all match against Villa. Obviously Villa had that second half red card, but even before that, Newcastle was so good defensively. Like, Villa hadn't got a shot on target at half time even. I always look at the captaincy widget, and unfortunately the answer's not there this week either. Haaland and Saka are both on 5 stars, and if I had either of them, they would be my captain without a doubt. Salah and Palmer both on 4 stars, so it's a tie. Bruno's on 3, but I'm not considering him this week. If you are on the Salah and Palmer setup, who are you going with for Game Week 2? So I'm going to go with Salah captain. Now, maybe even set and forget Salah captain is the solution this season, considering how well it did last year. I mean, the Isak situation just got even messier as well, didn't it? Like, I'm sure you've seen the headlines. He released a statement yesterday about Newcastle before the PFA Awards, and they released their own statement suggesting that he's going to have to stay. But now there's reports that there's a divide within the squad. Some are supporting him and some absolutely aren't. Could this play into Liverpool's hands? I mean, this is the absolute last thing that Howe wants to be having to deal with when we're already underway in the season. So yeah, Newcastle's defence were the winners in Game Week 1, and Villa have got a much easier fixture on paper playing against Brentford. Brentford's 4 big chances conceded was more than any team in Game Week 1. There's few things better in life than when 2 players that you've got in your FPL team link up for a goal together, and that is the hope with Rodgers and Watkins at some point. Interestingly, some models like FPL Review, which I use a lot, it's a data source I actually use for the Players to Buy video, isn't keen on Rodgers, so he's more of a personal pick than anything else. Big game for Villa up next. I'm intrigued to see how involved Bruno's going to be in these coming weeks, as I'm sure Amram's going to be looking to start all of Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo sooner than later, but he's just not nearly as good in centre mid in my opinion. I know he's better for DCs, but ultimately I want goals and assists, and the DC is a novelty or a bonus, let's say. And at times, he and Cunha were sort of getting stuck trying to find space in the same areas last match. But you're not going to drop Cunha or Mbeumo, so Amram's got a tricky situation on his hands. Obviously, you can't draw any conclusions from a sample size of 1 anyway. Like, for all we know, Bruno goes and bags a haul against Fulham and Reinders gets benched, and suddenly a lot has flipped in just 1 week. My 2 strikers in the 3-5-2 are Strand Larsen and Watkins. 0.39 non-penalty XGI for Strand Larsen in the first match. Actually 5th most, and that's against Man City. I can't believe he's under 5% owned, honestly. So Wolves are away to Bournemouth next, who were sliced open by Liverpool Game Week 1. And I've got a good feeling about this game, and Strand Larsen in general for 6.5 mil. But I mean, I would say that because he was my favourite FPL player last season. If you've got a Strand Larsen, keep the faith. I think he'll come good. Villa putting in a much better attacking performance is going to be important to ensure that the first arrow of the season is a green one. That's really the risk when you double up an attack on any team. Like, if they go goalless like Villa did Game Week 1, then you're up against it. That's 2 blanks already. Same when you go double defence, of course. Like, if that 1 goal goes in, then you're seriously up against it after that. There is of course more upside for that potential for Rodgers and Watkins to combine for a goal at some point, but of course more downside. It's volatile basically, but I don't mind that. They should both do well long term. The bench is Dubravka, Pedro Porro, Romero and Mark Yu. I was trying to have an early think about what my first transfer of the season is going to be, and right now it is honestly really unclear. Like Strand Larsen, he's got Leeds home in Game Week 5, and he's got Sunderland and Burnley Game Week 8 and 9 in fact, so I don't want to sell him anytime soon. Villa have got Sunderland and Burnley Game Week 5 and 7, so I'd like to keep Rodgers and Watkins for that long if I can. Salah and Palmer I'm feeling settled with at the moment, but Man City have got Burnley home in Game Week 6, and then they've got Brentford and Everton, so a pivot to Haaland could be good in Game Week 6. And then there's also like Wood, for example, who I don't have. He's got Burnley and Sunderland back-to-back Game Week 5 and 6, so there's some really amazing fixture runs coming up across the board. I've no idea how I'll get to Wood right now though. Like maybe it'll end up being Bruno down to a 4.5 mid and then Gw up to Wood. The best thing to do when possible at the start of the season is to roll, and that's the plan this week. Roll the transfer and reassess in Game Week 3 with 2 transfers banked. I'm really pleased with the opening team, like all things considered, for this season. Like last year I remember getting to Game Week 2 and thinking, oh maybe there's 1 or 2 things I should have done slightly differently. But I've not got that feeling right now after the first game week of this season. I was languishing about a 3 million rank last season, about Game Week 7, and still finished top 5k, so it shows how little it all matters this early in the season. So don't worry if you had a bad Game Week 1, or even if the next few don't go great. There's a long season ahead of us. Good luck all, hope you have a great Game Week 2, and I hope your first arrow of the season is a big green one. See you soon for the next one.